So, hello everybody, welcome back. So, I wanted to talk to you right now about my actual list about food things so that you might have an idea. Now, I cannot show you my supplies for several reasons, but not only just security and safety, but because obviously I'm Venezuelan. So I live in Venezuela. So whatever food I currently have that is national kind of food, like arepas or something, might not apply for you. If you are Chinese, you probably, do not care so much about English kind of food. Or, if you're in Canada, you might not care so much about Arabic kind of food. So I'm going to try to be kind of universal. And I'm going to try to go with you through the thought process of buying things. And then I'm going to be specific about certain points that you really, really, really need to take into consideration, okay? So before I continue, I wanted to remind you that down below is my email in case that you want to help me out by sending an Amazon gift card. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I also have some books in Gumroad. And I also have a PayPal account now. Yahoo! Yes! So, several things that you might want to consider. Number one, you might want to buy a universal weight kind of thing, because sometimes you will actually have to measure, things kind of like by specific terms, especially, if you just trade something or you're going to trade something. Then it's kind of like, I'll trade you, half of the package of my flour for half of your package or something. Then you need to have some sort of way of measuring it so that, the trading is kind of fair. And if you're following a particular recipe, or if you're following the instructions for the package, you might need to be specific. Most people do not have that because when you are in good times, you don't care. Quite frankly, you're not going to trade food when you're in good times. And you're also, not going to be worried about putting extra butter or extra whatever. Yeah, but if you're in hard times and you need that food to last and stuff like that, oh hell, then you need to be as specific as you can. And if you're not, someone that can do this by heart, kind of like, my mother thing, then you definitely need something to be specific about liquid and about, weight, as in grams or ounces or whatever. Second part is that if you have a sink, where you're going to do the dishes and stuff, there is like a little metal basket, something that you put in the drain, so that you don't, get anything down the drain, so that your drain doesn't stops working or whatever. So that specific net, you need an extra for each side. So if you have two sides, then you need to buy two. You need at least one pair extra. Because here is the deal. When you're in hard times, that thing is going to save you a lot of money in plumbing and stuff like that. But not only that, the problem is that those things are not universal. And they are not standard. So if you didn't get a couple and then, that thing got damaged or you lost it or whatever, then you're not getting it back. And then you're going to be kind of like, what the hell? Did it go down the drain or whatever? And then if you have a ring or something and then that thing goes down the drain, so, oh, hell no, just try to get a couple. So if you have two, you get a couple. You get one for extra for each side. And that's, like I said, I'm talking about universal things. Then, I want you to think about something else. I told you several times that you're probably not going to have any water. So you are also probably not going to have a hell of a lot of spices or stuff like that. Unless, you are a person that, knows what the hell they're doing and you already have, hundreds of spices and you know what the hell they work for and everything like that, and you know what the hell you're doing. But, and even then, you might still lack several things. So what you want to do is either you learn how to do this or you buy it. And I'm talking about broth, like the liquid thing that comes out of the soup thing, like the soup base kind of thing. Yeah, that one. Because that way you can, let's say that you're making rice and that is the only thing that you're doing. Because, you don't have time and you don't have money and you only have rice and you only have water. Because, quite frankly, half of the people that are in hard times, they only have one thing. Meaning, they only have one pasta and that's it. Not even ketchup or whatever, and there is nothing. So if you cook it with water, then number one, you're spending water. And if you don't have potable water, then you're using any kind of water. And if you're using any kind of water, that might mean contaminated water. So, oh hell. But here's the deal. If you buy broth, the ones that they sell you in Tetra Pak thing, you can actually use half of the broth and put the rice in it, and then the rice will be kind of flavored. Or you can use it to make pasta, and the pasta will be kind of flavored. Or you can use it for making the soup, or you can use it to make it the grains, or you can use it for whatever. So either you learn how the hell to make the broth, and then you freeze it, and then, you put it in packages and stuff, and you freeze it, and then that way, you can make it work for other times. Or you buy the ones that are already, made. If you buy the ones that are already made, for cooking noodles, pastas, whatever, you will save water, and also you might save cleaning things. Obviously, because if you're carrying water and stuff, you probably like I said, you will have to move the water all over the place if you don't have it, and you might have to clean after yourself because handling water when you don't have water from the pipe is more more problematic. But if you don't even have to look for water, all you have to do is open that thing. Oh hell. So think about that. Now, how much broth will I store? I will suggest that you do not store that until you actually buy one and then you try it. Because, quite frankly, there is, there is something about you storing things and then trying them and then realizing that, oh crap, that thing tastes horrible. So, oh hell no. Because like I told you, food is one of those things that will break you. I'm going to repeat it. Break you or make you. If that thing doesn't taste good, or it doesn't smell good, or it looks like, oh my God, what the hell? Yeah, you're going to be kind of like, I'm surviving, but is it this worth kind of living thing? So, oh hell no. You want to have something that you actually like. Okay? And especially, with kids and elderly. Because quite frankly, kids and elderly will be kind of like, what the hell is wrong with the world? The elderly will be kind of like, oh hell, I'm not eating that. And then you're going to be in trouble. And also, because if you are sick, like, you have a flu or whatever, you need to take a lot of liquid. You're not supposed to be eating a lot of solids if you're sick. If you're sick and you're eating a hell of a lot of solids, you are slowing down your recovery process. You are supposed to eat a hell of a lot of fluids. And that is just not drinking. That is a hell of a lot of fluids, meaning a hell of a lot of soups and broth and stuff like that. So you need something that you will actually like. If you buy a brand and then you don't like it, then another brand. Or if you can't buy a brand that you actually like, then you need to learn how the hell to make it yourself. And this one doesn't require, a lot of experience. Okay? Making broth is just one of those things that you probably, it's just something that you can practically do while watching a video. Okay? Because it's easy. You don't have to do like special techniques or flavor or whatever. Oh, hell no. All you have to do is cook something and then kind of strain it and then that's it, and then you store it. And then, sometimes if depending upon what the hell you're cooking, you might even get oil, like actual fat that will be used as oil, when you don't have oil. Let's say that you run out of the cooking oil and you have no idea how the hell to fry something, and then you make the broth, and then the thing you let it sit, and then you can take the fat out, and that fat will actually be extremely good taste, and it will add a hell of a lot of flavor to whatever the hell you're cooking in it. So it's not difficult. The problem with making broth is the time. If you do not have enough fuel, and I do mean enough fuel, oh hell, then you're probably going to, be in trouble. Because broth is not something that you do in 2 minutes or 5 minutes. It's not something that you're going to be like, yeah, I'm done. Oh hell no. Broth is going to take you a while, So, it will depend upon you. And in fact, there are people that will make broth in forms of jelly. And they will make it in form of jelly, like actual jellies. And you will touch it and it feels like jelly, and they will trade you the little cubes. They will cut it in cubes and it will be like a cube thing. And that natural thing, oh my God, that thing tastes like freaking heaven. Oh, so depending upon, who made it. But, those are very, very, very good. And I do mean, oh God, that food is going to take you to heaven. So it will lift up your spirit and everything. So you need something that will help you save water, and at the same time it will help you, with the flavor, with the food and stuff like that. Most people do not think about it because you don't think about water, and you don't think about oil, and you don't think about making something flavorful. Because you probably already have a hell of a lot of things that you can have access to right now. But if those things are imported, think about it. Cinnamon, for example, is not produced everywhere. Okay? Mangoes are not produced everywhere. Avocados are not produced everywhere. So coffee is not produced everywhere. Cocoa is not produced anywhere. So everywhere. You need, if the thing that you cook with is going to be imported, there is a very high chance that you're not going to get access to that, because who the hell is going to import it? And who the hell is going to transport it? And it's going to be logistical kind of thing, like a nightmare, and nobody will want to deal with that. So you're not getting that. So if you want something that is specific for you, that you can't live without, and is important, like vanilla, for example, then oh hell, you probably want to store a hell of a lot of that thing. Now, moving on from the broth and the water thing, you may want to store white vinegar. I suggest, depending upon the uses that you're going to give it. Like I said, because if you're a kind of person that will clean with this thing, the kind of person that will cut vegetables and then they will try to store them in jars, and you need vinegar for that, or the kind of person that will use vinegar to clean your vegetables and stuff like that, or you're using it for cooking, or you're using it for your alkaline kind of water, or you're using it for flavoring your salads and stuff like that, then, oh hell, I will suggest that you store about 1 gallon per month, roughly. Depending, like I said, depending upon how much you use it. Because if you are like let's say that you are in your car, and then you need to clean, and then you don't know what you're going to do, and then you're using like this thing like daily for doing dishes and stuff like that, and then you're using it for the vegetables, you're using it for cooking, you're using it for cleaning everything around you and things like that, I will suggest that right about that amount. If you're using it for sporadically, meaning I don't do housework, or I don't clean that much, or I will prefer something else, or you are kind of like a person that doesn't do conservation of food and alkaline water, and then you're kind of like, what the hell is an alkaline water? Then you probably don't need that much. But I will suggest that you take into consideration how much of that you might be using, and I will suggest not to store more than 12 gallons, because 12 gallons, it should give you more than a year. And even if you're using it like a lot, you're probably going to end up, trading a little bit of that vinegar, or you might be using it for other things, like presents or other things. So, it will depend upon, you. So I will suggest 1 gallon and no more than 12, because otherwise you are taking too much space than you are actually absolutely going to need for other things that are probably more important. So think about it. Your space is limited, so you need to make priorities, because otherwise you are not going to be able to handle the situation with the food. So what I would suggest is that you take a measuring tape, and I do mean take a freaking measuring tape, and then measure the shelves that you have for the food. And take note about which shelves do what kind of a measurement thing or whatever, so that you can have an idea of how much space you actually have. And that will give you an idea also about what kind of container is better. And it will also give you an idea about how much space you can have up or down that shelves. Most people fail at the storing process and stuff like that, because they do not consider the actual measure of the shelves or the drawers. So you want to, write it down and do a drawing thing or whatever, and then, write down next to that, write down all the information, as in, I consider this one very important, very essential, I can live without this one, I can make this one up or whatever, and then you put like a number, 1, 2, 3, and 5, up to 5. And then you go, okay, this one is absolutely essential, must be here, and this one must be there, and this is the space that I want to take, and all these things. And then you can even take that measuring tape to the supermarket and actually measure the containers, because the containers are not going to be the same size or whatever. And if you have a mismatch, you might have, spaces that are not being used in your shelves and stuff like that. Because, like I said, 99% of people do not bother to measure. There are people that are mostly men. Oh hell, men can look at that thing and they will tell you exactly if that thing will fit or not. But women, oh hell no, we suck at that, at kind of that thing. The special relationship with our eyes is different, so we need the measuring tape. It sucks, but come on, we got other advantages. So anyway, so moving on from the vinegar, you want to consider getting at least 2 or 3 kilos of sugar per month, and you might want to consider getting a bare minimum of 6 months of sugar. The reason is because sugar is going to be very, 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 very valuable for trading, and it's also going to be very, very, very important. And it's something that you might use for doing jams and for doing other things and for cooking and for flavoring a lot of things and whatever. And the point is that for all you know, you might have somebody that comes to your house and they're kind of like, I am diabetic and I need something with sugar on it or whatever. So you might want to take a look at that. Quite frankly, no sugar in most houses. People were like having a drug withdrawal or something like that. Most people. So I cannot imagine going to a place like the US if there is no sugar. By the way, if you use something like a Splenda or NutraSweet or something like that, yeah, you can say goodbye to that. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. Because those things are more expensive, and those things, if you have to choose between sugar and that, most people will go with sugar. And so companies are just not going to bother making them. Especially because finding the little packages that they have to deal with those things, because, most people will not sell you the whole package in one container, but they have to do it like envelopes and stuff. That will make it, the product is going to be too expensive. And so, oh hell no. Quite frankly, there was a point in which you could, we used to produce that in here and we used to have it. And then all of a sudden, the problem with the packaging became like a main thing. And then after that time, yeah, I haven't seen that thing in my country unless you import it. So things like Splenda, NutraSweet, and the things that are like a peel thing for sugar and stuff like that, yeah, goodbye. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. You either buy sugar, by the way, white sugar only. You will not be able to find brown sugar unless you know how the hell to make it. I have already said in the other videos that you can make it yourself, but most people will not be able to make it because most people do not know how the hell to make it. So if you're a person that is a maniac about brown sugar, then you need to learn how the hell to make it. And then you need a hell of a lot of white sugar. White sugar is going to be, one of those things that no matter how hard things are, people are really, really going to try to make it because, quite frankly, we're not living without sugar. So even if it is hard times, people will find a way to produce sugar and sell it because they know that it's going to be one of those things that you can make money out of it. But it's also going to be a problem because, like I told you before, they can take products that are sugar that is meant for companies and stuff like that, and they are going to sell it to you like if they were for consumers, and it's going to be counterfeited, and it's going to be contaminated, and it's going to be one of those things that you go kind of like, what the hell? So if you really don't know how the hell to determine if that sugar is sugar or if it's not or whatever, and you can't trust the source or anything like that, then you want to store at least 1 year. And if you have kids, oh hell, if you have kids, you really, really, probably very, very likely, like I said, unless you're diabetic or something like that, then you probably really, really, really want to store at least 1 year. And I suggest, really, 2 or 3 kilos per month, minimum. Some families might use even more, especially if you are trading it. Because like I said, people will do whatever they take. It's one of those top 5 things that people will go crazy about, like coffee. So coffee and sugar, oh hell. So, that's just kind of like average. Like I said, if you need Splenda or you need NutraSweet or whatever those brand things is, yeah, like I said, you really, at that point, oh hell, then you really, really, really want to store at least 6 months worth of whatever the hell you use daily. If you use 3 envelopes daily, then you calculate, 3 times 180. That is, roughly how much you should probably store. So I don't know, because it will depend upon you. If you are diabetic and you can't have sugar, but you can have, this thing, I also suggest that you start using stevia, which is a herb that you can actually grow in your garden. Stevia is also sweet. What they don't tell you is that if you're going to make stevia, as in make this sweet that is out of stevia, it's going to be more expensive because you need to boil it and then you need to process it yourself. And I can't tell you how the hell to do it because, quite frankly, I don't do it. My mother does, and quite frankly, I'm not interested in that one. The stevia is quite different, the flavor, so half of the people will absolutely like it and love it, and the other half will be kind of like, throwing up, what the hell is this thing? So you might want to try it, and you might want to determine these things before you are into that situation. You also might want to consider honey. Oh my God. And like I said, I'm not talking about vegetarians or vegans or gluten-free kind of diet or whatever special diet, because quite frankly, if you have a special diet thing, you might want to, consider talking to a nutritionist or something else. I can't be that specific because my mother has gluten-free problems and lactose problems, and at that point, quite frankly, the main problem is going to be counterfeited products, and it's going to be, the cost. Because, finding something that they need to process more or something like that is going to be more expensive. And not only that, but it's just that it requires more energy to be done, and machinery and stuff, and most people will not be able to keep up with that, so you're not going to get it. Unless, you are talking about, something that is so important or so popular or it becomes mainstream and then everybody's doing it, and then there is a market. If there is a market, then people will make it, and then you will have to deal with counterfeiting, because of course, like I have said before, people will be counterfeiting everything. In Africa, there has been this problem forever, and now we have this problem in Latin countries, and this is a problem that you will face all over the globe now, even in the US. And the thing that is keeping the US and Canada and other countries like Europe or whatever kind of laid back on that is that you have courts and you have people that will actually fight or whatever these things. But if there is nothing like that, or that thing can be corrupted or whatever, then this situation with the counterfeiting, you need to handle it by yourself. I'm sorry, it's just the way things are. So you want to try to keep to a brand, and you want to try to keep to buying in the same place as always, and you want to try to keep knowing who the hell is the manager and who the hell is the owner of that particular place, because then if there is a problem, you can ask them directly, and then you can be pissed at them directly. So kind of like that. So anyway, honey. Quite frankly, I will suggest storing 2 liters of honey per month. And I will suggest storing, I don't know, maybe 6 months. Maybe. I'm just telling you. Here is why. Honey is going to be available all the time throughout hard times. But the chances of you getting real honey in hard times is probably 1 in every 10 brands. I'm not joking. People, when they are selling you honey right now, if you go to the supermarket, they will sell you honey, and it will say pure honey or whatever, but once you get it home and then you try it, or you put it with the test about, the memory thing, or you test it with the fire thing or whatever, you're going to end up like 9 out of 10 times that honey is just sugar. Burnt sugar. It's not honey. They might mix it a little bit with honey, so it's going to be kind of like a mixture, and it's not going to be pure honey, because producing pure honey is going to be very, very expensive, and most people won't bother. Mostly because producing honey requires a manual labor, and people will not work for the same amount of money that they used to. And so you are reducing the cost of labor and stuff like that, and it's going to be a problem. So you might want to know about methods to try to see if the honey is actual honey. There are several ways of doing that. And you might want to store honey for yourself, because honey is something that you can give as a present, and you might be able to trade it. Because when there is no sugar whatsoever, some people will buy it for teas and for other things. I mean, they are not going to use it for the regular uses as you will do with sugar. So no, honey will not substitute the sugar thing, but it can help. So some people will be willing to trade you honey. And if it is pure honey and you can prove that it is pure honey, then, oh hell, then you have a good product for doing that, like I said. So that was, like the main list thing. Also, you want to try to get molas. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing this thing wrong or whatever. Molas. Because people will be making their own bread. If you have no idea how the hell to make your own bread, I will suggest that if you're a person that wants to do, cooking and things like that, you really want to learn how the hell to make your own yeast and your own bread. And molas is going to be one of those things that you will use for breads and a hell of a lot of other things, including, alkaline water, energy water. You will produce it for substitute for sugar for certain things. It's kind of like honey, but it's not exactly honey, because, it doesn't taste as sweet, but it will help. Especially if you have somebody who is fainting and stuff like that, you might need that. So mollusk is one of those things that I will suggest getting 1 jar for every other month. You're not going to, if you are not a person that uses this thing frequently, then you can store maybe 2 jars or 3 jars for the whole year, and you might be, okay about it. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, then get 1 or maybe 2 just for trading purposes. Or, because people that will do sweetbread and bread, they will need that thing. So you might be able to say to them, hey, can I give you this, and then can you give me bread? And then, by the way, that has happened a lot, because people are kind of like, yeah, I'm craving, sweet bread and something, but I can't do it without the mollusk. And then somebody will say, I have mollusk. Oh crap! Then can you give me the jar with that thing, and then I will give you bread. And then you're like, oh right. So that it can actually happen if you know somebody that knows how the hell to do these things. So you might be able to trade it. That's why you might want to have, like I said, maybe 1 or 2, or I don't know. I will probably not store more than 6 for a whole year, if I don't use it for these things and things like that, So anyway, I will continue with this video later. So I just hope that this information is useful, So thank you.